An arrest is an indication that probable cause exists to believe the subject was involved in the offense alleged. A person is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. April 18, 2024. CPSO arrest couple for second-degree cruelty. On April 17, at approximately 1 p.m., Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office deputies were dispatched to a home on Ann Claiborne Street in Sulphur in reference to an unresponsive 4-year-old boy. When detectives spoke with the father of the child, Scott A. Edwards, 26, and his living girlfriend, Jenna E. Morgan, 24, both of Sulphur, they gave conflicting stories on how the injuries may have occurred, none of which were consistent with the extent of the injuries the boy sustained. Hospital personnel stated the boy suffered from injuries consistent with likely ongoing abuse occurring over a period of time, including multiple brain bleeds and bruising, all at various stages of healing. After further investigation, yesterday evening, detectives issued a warrant signed by Judge Tony Fazio for the arrest of Edwards and Morgan. They were arrested out of town, at the hospital, and booked into the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. They are both charged with second-degree cruelty to a juvenile. Their bonds have been set at $750,000 each. The boy was transported to a local hospital and then airlifted to a hospital out of town due to the severity of his injuries. The child remains in ICU in critical condition. He has been placed in state custody by the Department of Children and Family Services. The investigation is continuing. CPSO Special Victims Unit Detective Alexander Vincent is the lead investigator on this case. April 1, 2024. CPSO arrests convicted sex offender for indecent behavior with a juvenile. On March 23, the Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office received a complaint regarding a convicted sex offender, Terry Howard, 65, Lake Charles, asking a child, under the age of 10, to perform inappropriate actions more than one occasion. After further investigation, Judge David Ritchie signed a warrant for Howard's arrest. On March 28, he was arrested and booked into the Calcasieu Correctional Center and charged with indecent behavior with a juvenile. His bond is set at $750,000. Howard was convicted of aggravated rape in 1981 as well as failure to register as a sex offender in 2013 and carnal knowledge of a juvenile in 2015. CPSO Special Victims Unit Detective Kara Adams is the lead investigators on this case. April 23, 2024. CPSO upgrades charges for couple responsible for cruelty. On April 17, at approximately 1 p.m., Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office deputies were dispatched to a home on Ann Claiborne Street in Sulphur, in reference to an unresponsive 4-year-old boy. When detectives spoke with the father of the child, Scott A. Edwards, 26, and his living girlfriend, Jenna E. Morgan, 24, both of Sulphur, they gave conflicting stories on how the injuries may have occurred, none of which were consistent with the extent of the injuries the boy sustained. Hospital personnel stated the boy suffered from injuries consistent with likely ongoing abuse occurring over a period of time, including multiple brain bleeds and bruising, all at various stages of healing. On April 18, detectives issued a warrant signed by Judge Tony Fazio for the arrest of Edwards and Morgan. They were arrested out of town, at the hospital, and booked into the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. They are both charged with second-degree cruelty to a juvenile. On April 19, the child was pronounced brain dead at a hospital in Baton Rouge. On Sunday, April 21, he was officially pronounced deceased. Judge Tony Fazio signed a warrant in the amount of $1 million each, charging Edwards and Morgan, who are incarcerated at the Calcasieu Correctional Center, with second-degree murder. The investigation is continuing. CPSO Special Victims Unit Detective Alexander Vincent is the lead investigator on this case. April 19, 2024. CPSO arrests man for multiple counts of possession of child porn. In July 2023, Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office Special Victims Unit detectives, working with Homeland Security Investigations and the Louisiana Attorney General's Office, as part of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, received a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, in reference to child sexual abuse material, CSAM, saved to a Snapchat account. During further investigation, approximately over 20 CSAM videos and images were located on an account associated with Charles B. Schrump II, 22, Sulphur. After further investigation and the execution of numerous search warrants and subpoenas, in March 2024, Judge Tony Fazio signed a warrant for Schrumpf's arrest. On April 18, detectives located Schrumpf in Ruston, LA, at which time he arrested and booked into the Lincoln Parish Detention Center, and transported back to the Calcasieu Correctional Center. He is charged with 22 counts of possession of child pornography. He bonded out later the same day on a $300,000 bond. CPSO Special Victims Unit Detective Eric Perry is the lead investigator on this case. April 25, 2024. CPSO arrest man for trafficking and cruelty to animals. On April 8, Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office detectives received a report in reference to a rope. During the investigation, the victim, who is under the age of 16, disclosed Derek F. Thibodeau, Jr., 55, Sulphur, was sexually abusing her. During the investigation, the victim was able to provide detectives with details of the abuse that were corroborated during the execution of a search warrant. Further investigation revealed Thibodeau was in possession of a large number of roosters, tethered to individual shelters, as well as cockfighting paraphernalia. A dog was also located at his residence, suffering from injuries to its neck, likely from being tethered for a long period of time. On April 24, Thibodeau was arrested and booked into the Calcasieu Correctional Center, and charged with trafficking of children for sexual purposes, aggravated cruelty to animals, and cockfighting. Judge Clayton Davis set his bond at $1,215,000. The dog was seized by Calcasieu Parish Animal Services and received veterinary care. CPSO Detective Kara Adams is the lead investigator on this case. April 19, 2024. Convicted sex offender charged with failure to register. In January, Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office Sex Offender Unit detectives began an investigation concerning convicted sex offender, Hilary J. Guillory, Jr., 36. Homeless, after he failed to comply with his sex offender registration requirements. In November 2023, Guillory reported to the CPSO Sex Offender Unit for a check-in. At that time, Guillory indicated to detectives he was aware he must complete an in-person check-in every 2 weeks due to his residential status. Guillory failed to appear for his check-ins in December and January. On January 31, CPSO issued a warrant signed by Judge Tony Fazio for Guillory's arrest. Detectives were unable to locate Guillory at the time. On April 17, the Lake Charles Police Department made contact with Guillory on a traffic stop, at which time he was arrested and booked into the Calcasieu Correctional Center. He is charged with 4 counts of failure to register as a sex offender. His bond has been set at $100,000. Guillory was convicted of sexual battery in 2014 in Calcasieu Parish. CPSO Detective Lisa Trahan is the lead investigator on this case. April 1, 2024. CPSO upgrades former deputy's charges. On February 27, Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office detectives began an investigation on Deputy Brian Dugas, 57. Lake Charles, after receiving a complaint in reference to indecent behavior with a juvenile. On March 14, Dugas was arrested and booked into the Calcasieu Correctional Center and charged with 4 counts of indecent behavior with a juvenile. He was terminated by Sheriff Mancuso the same day. Judge Clayton Davis had set his bond at $250,000. The investigation continued, and on the evening of March 28, detectives issued an additional warrant charging Dugas, who remains incarcerated, with indecent behavior with a juvenile, malfeasance in office, third-degree rape, and 4 counts of possession of child pornography. Judge David Ritchie set his bond for those charges at $1.2 million. I am deeply disturbed and angered by the actions of Dugas, stated Chief Deputy Stitch Guillory. The safety and well-being of our community, especially our children, is always our top priority. His actions are despicable and intolerable, and I am very sorry for these victims and their families. But I am proud of them for coming forward. We have multiple safety measures in place to ensure we hire quality deputies, and unfortunately in some instances, some choose to break the laws they are there to enforce. They will always be held accountable when they do so. I want to assure our community and our parents that we began working swiftly as soon as we received a complaint, and Dugas had no further interaction through our office with children once the investigation began. Detectives are investigating the claims thoroughly to ensure a complete and comprehensive investigation, just like we would in any other case. CPSO Special Victims Unit Detective Jeff Atkinson is the lead investigator on this case. Equality before the law, also known as equality under the law. Equality in the eyes of the law, legal equality, or legal egalitarianism, is the principle that all people must be equally protected by the law. The rule of law is a political ideal that all citizens and institutions within a country, state, or community are accountable to the same laws, including lawmakers and leaders. It is sometimes stated simply as no one is above the law.